My sins belong to yesterday. I cannot right some wrongs. I have to learn and grow from here to see where I belong. My past is a nightmare, my future a dream. My present a teardrop in time. I'm never in one but always in three. Which one will I use to design?
My name is Jaimee Frederick, and I'm 29 years old. Nodular Sclerosis, Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is like the classic. July 2016. It was a huge headache. Every time the doctors would say they took enough scar tissue from a biopsy, they would call back and say that they didn't have enough and that the tests were inconclusive. And so I had to have like 3 different surgeries until they actually got enough. And the very last one is when they had to come into the mass that's in my chest and they cut my lung during the process. So I have a forever scarred lung and a huge scar across my back. I had to do chemotherapy, and that was a cocktail of like 4 different drugs. How hasn't it affected me? I'm bald. I got no eyebrows, no eyelashes. I am nauseous like all the time and tired, achy, anemic. It's very depressing, but it's kicked the cancer's butt. So, yeah. The worst part is being completely crippled by nausea and fatigue and not being able to get out of bed and play with my son or clean the house or do anything that life is about. I'm just like laying horizontal 24/7. I would say that in the beginning it may not seem so tough, but in the middle everything just kind of like hits you like a brick wall, and I know that it's hard, but I just want to tell you just to not give up and keep trucking and keep those supporters around you because they really help. They keep you pushing. My family, most of all my husband and my son. My son is like the reason I get out of bed every day and want to do better and progress in life. And if I didn't have my amazing husband, I probably would not be able to get through an entire day. Never give up.
The chemotherapy destroys everything inside of you. If you get sick while you're on chemotherapy, even if you just get a cold, you have to go to the hospital. They have to monitor you for days. They don't let you out until you're fully healed. One day, Jaimee was complaining of side pain so bad she couldn't move. We had to call the ambulance.
I was experiencing some very sharp pains in my lower right abdomen, and it was very painful. Like I couldn't move hardly and felt like I had to go to the bathroom constantly. Nothing was helping. It wasn't going away. It was just staying there. And I was worried. So my wonderful husband called the paramedics because I didn't want to go sit in a car. They came right over and helped me, and I got to sit on a gurney. And oh my gosh, it was horrible.
Time for a kitty scan.
Have a good day. So when I was on chemo, I had to take a bunch of medication, and a bunch of it was for nausea because like that's all I really ever complained about, and fatigue they couldn't really do much about, so I just drank a lot of coffee. And I also had antibiotics in case I had a fever that went over 100.4, so like not even that high of a fever, like 100.4. And I had to call the doctor and immediately start taking those in case, but luckily that never happened. So I still have that huge container of it. So a couple of medications that I had to take for nausea were promethazine, lorazepam, palpazine, omeprazole, and it tastes really gross. But you take it and it helps a lot. Like I have not had any heartburn or indigestion since I've started taking those things, so I'm probably going to continue that medication because I used to have really bad acid reflux in the beginning. Handy dandy Prozac, oxycodone. I had to take it when I suffered through a kidney stone, and that was like the worst pain ever. Hydrocodone. And this stuff called Rapaflo. There it is. Rapaflo. I also have trazodone, which is another one I'm going to continue. This helps with sleeping, but it's not addictive. So it works with the brain chemistry just like Prozac. So they're buddies, and they are going to continue to be buddies and hang out on my shelf. Senna laxatives. This is like an essential because during chemo you get super constipated, or you have diarrhea, but I was super constipated, but I've always been super constipated, so the chemo totally made it worse. But this stuff makes it rain. Not the good kind. Oh yeah, the oxycodone makes you constipated too, and the hydrocodone. So just like nasty side effects from all those money-hungry pharmaceutical companies that make these wonderful chemically round, colorful pills. And you just gotta keep taking pills to fix whatever side effect is happening with your other pills that you're taking. But yeah. Over the course of 6 months, I had to have chemotherapy once every 2 weeks. And once you complete chemotherapy, you get to ring this bell. And today is my day.
So we do have to do a little bit of follow. I mean, we're going to do follow-up, right? We've got a number of blood tests and things we're going to do all the time. I'm going to repeat another scan, not a PET scan, but a CT scan on you some months from now. But everything was good.
So I'm in remission?
Yes.
2016, I was diagnosed with cancer. I was 28 years old and not ready to die, but I was accepting of it. Not too long before my diagnosis, I found myself looking up to the sky with tears streaming down my face, wondering why I was still alive. I remember thinking I was someone who didn't have anything to offer this world, and I felt like such a burden to others. I really didn't feel like I had a purpose to live. 3 days later, I found myself in the ER with a lump in my neck and a mass in my chest the size of a cantaloupe. I felt like I had asked for this to happen, so it made me feel super guilty when all my friends and family said that they would keep me in their thoughts and prayers. My reasoning was that the universe knew I had given up, so I figured it was my turn to die. When I was finally informed I had the most classic case of Hodgkin's lymphoma, and that it was curable, I wasn't sure how to take the news. Was this considered lucky? I ironically felt more alive than ever and wanted to be happy, but I only felt sadness. Sadness for those who had terminal type of cancer or a disease. And sadness for those who wanted to live but didn't have the chance to anymore. There was stress too because I've had a bad habit of leaving a lot of tasks unaccomplished, and so I was worried I would fail at getting cured too. I tried not to care too much about dying. I thought it would be a good thing for me to finally leave. But I began thinking about my son growing up without me, and that just didn't sit right. So suddenly, inspiration hit me, and for the first time, I felt hope that getting cured for cancer would be added to the empty list of achievements. It was time to fight the fate I was given, just like all those survivors before me. December 16th, 2016 was my last chemotherapy treatment. While I'm happy the treatment is over, I still fear every day that cancer will sneak its way back to me and I'll have to do it all over again. However, this experience has been a blessing in disguise for me. It taught me how to see the value in all of the little things in life and how to truly find happiness within myself. It has given me a second chance to learn how life should be lived. I feel in a way that I have been reborn and that I have the chance to start over. I may never be as sharp as I once was, or have my good looks, or have amazing health. And I'll always have to be on close watch by all the doctors, and every time I take my medication, I'll be reminded of those rough times. But I will never look at life the way I did before I found out I had cancer. I believe that I need to thank the universe for giving me what I asked for all those months ago, and be grateful that the end is still coming, but it's not as close as I once thought or wanted.